Hello, it's my rankings of all UK Eurovision entries, places 57 to 53. Welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. If you haven't subscribed before, please do click on that button. Also, notification bell, and do please like, share and comment below. Moving a bit further up the table now, start off with number 57, it's 2008, Andy Abraham, Even If.
But if the world stops loving, I could never stop loving you. Even if the sun stops rising, I still wanna wake up with you. Yeah.
So, I'm afraid this was another last place for the UK. Actually, it was a joint last place with several other countries, but in the way that the voting gets structured, it means that this counts as a last place for the UK, which is probably perhaps a little bit harsh for this. Andy Abrahams was he was an X Factor runner-up a few years earlier. I think he was a co-writer of this song. It's kind of mid to up tempo soul. It's one of these UK songs that we've had recently that is not necessarily offensive or problematical, but doesn't inspire in any particular way. I don't think it helped that it was not in a good place in the running order either, but yes, it just goes to show, and I've said this many times before, that sort of kind of just having an okay, mediocre song doesn't cut it at Eurovision, certainly not for members of the Big Five. They need to do something more. I always think this was the result that finished Terry Wogan off as the host, because he was so fed up with how things were going. But it also was the last year that we had televote only voting. From the year after, we went to split voting with juries as well. I'm not sure this would have helped this song that much though. At 56, it's 2012, Engelbert Humperdinck, Love Will Set You Free.
Oh, I'll miss you forever, and the hurt will run deep. Only love can set you free.
So, in another rerun of rather having a disappointing entry or excitement from having a year where we had some good or a credible song, 2011 that was Blue, then we went to thinking, oh well, who will we get this year? They were somewhat surprised for the 76-year-old crooner from the 60s and 70s, who's sold multiple millions of singles, of course, millions of albums, to be announced as the UK's Eurovision entry. And at the time, he was almost the oldest person to ever grace the Eurovision stage, although he was beaten a few songs later by a member of the Russian band. But I think he still is the oldest solo artist on the Eurovision stage. And he gave a very Engelbert-style performance with a sweet, kind of very slow, downbeat tempoed ballad. Interestingly co-written by an Ivor Novello winning songwriter who's penned or co-penned songs for Miley Cyrus and also James Blunt as well. So really quite huge worldwide hits, but somehow that pairing didn't really work with Engelbert, and it was another disappointing result for the UK, and perhaps not surprising given wheeling someone out who probably hadn't even been aware what Eurovision was. So I really still struggle to wonder what the motivation behind the BBC there was for that year. At 55, 2004, James Fox, Hold On To Our Love.
It's the only time I've ever loved somebody, baby, in my life. We gotta hold on to our love tonight. I know that you've been hurting.
So James Fox had been on the UK, sort of one of the UK singing TV sort of competition TV shows, the Fame Academy, the year before, and he gave us a mid-tempo kind of ballad, pop ballad, And there was nothing really wrong with this song, but nothing that really grabbed the attention. Finished 16th, which in these days counts as a good result for the UK. But again, it's another example. There's nothing particularly exciting or stand out about it. Nothing that you can really hold on to, and hence why it's quite lowly in my own personal rankings of UK entries. At 54, it's Kenneth McKellar, A Man Without Love, from 1966.
Roses and rainbows and songbirds, and he knows never sang for a man without.
Stretching a long way back to this, and this song was actually the UK's worst performing entry between 1957 and 1978, and it's actually quite a theatrical, almost something you might expect out of The Sound of Music or something along those lines. Sort of a big ballad. It's a very fine voice, but I think by that point Eurovision was leaving behind those kinds of big chanson ballads, or certainly for sort of the English-speaking side, and moving more towards pop. And I think this, even then, it feels like it was a bit outdated, and frankly just a little bit dull. And so, perhaps not surprising, it didn't do so well for the UK in a time when the UK always used to do very, very well. And at 53, we have 2006. Daz Sampson, Teenage Life.
You wanna know, do you listen to your teacher? No, I don't think so. Come on!
Did you learn at school today?
Did you learn?
That's what the teachers used to say.
That's what they used to say.
But they don't understand, do they? Why?
So this is an interesting one. So many things wrong with it in many ways, and inappropriate. But at the same time, you can't help admire the chutzpah, and I think the way it was delivered, I think perhaps warms me to it a little more, and it is kind of quite catchy at times. Daz Sampson has been quite successful as part of various bands as Bus Stop and United Nations, in doing dance pop and dance remixes to that date. Rap was done, but taking rap to Eurovision was perhaps an interesting step, and not necessarily a successful one. But that said, it finished 19th, largely due to some high scoring from some countries, which I think were possibly voting in slight protest, general protest, at how the voting was very, very heavily weighted to neighbour blocks at that point. But, quite catchy. I don't think he has too many regrets about it. He's gone on to do all sorts of other things, including trying to enter a song for the Belarusian national selection the other year, though that didn't get very far. Was it Belarusian or Moldovan? It was one of the two. I can't remember now. But yes, it didn't get very far anyway. But it still stands as, a little bit of fun, although, as I say, I'm not sure I'd want to see it repeated again. So that's my latest 5. We'll be back as we carry on up the charts.